So I made this video for those who were not in class yesterday, so they can understand. We're going to start with the room length. The room is approximately 16 meters in length, 7 meters in width. When you times those together, 16 times 7 is 112 meters square. We'll say about 20 students. That's the average. It depends on y'all's class. And then for this one, I know the number of students, which is 20. I know the area of my room, which is 112. And then I'm going to divide. This is a division right there. So it'll be 20 divided by 112. I'm going to round it to 0.18 or 0.18. This is written in the order that you put it into the calculator. Alright, so then for this one, we know the number of students. We said the number of students is 20. So now I'm going to multiply by our average student mass, which is 55. Gives me 1,100 kilograms. So this is just based on our room and our class. Each of you did it based on your class. This is a separate problem where we know our population density of 1 student per kilometer squared. We do not know the number of students, but we know the square footage, which is 350 kilometers squared. So to get this over, so I can figure out the number of students, I have to times each side by 350. And 350 times 1 is 350. So we have 350 students. But we still need the biomass. It's asking us what the total biomass is. And so now I plug in this number of students, just like we did in this equation. It has the average weight of being 55 kilometers. So I have 350 students times 55, not kilometers, kilograms. So I do that, 350 times 55 gives me 19,250. So that's my biomass. Now we go to this second part of this question. It is saying if the entire class is vegetarian and eats plants, what would the required biomass of the plants be to sustain the class? So now this saying is that this level, is 19,250. If I go up the pyramid, I'm going to times it by 0.10. If I go down the pyramid, I times it by just 10. And we're trying to figure out the plants, which is these guys. So that means I'm going to take 19,250. I'm going to times it by 10. That gives me 192,500. Now, looking at this side, the reflections questions, this is just talking about the concept with this first one is if we have a decrease in room size, we have an increase in population density. You'll need to answer this question as well. It's more of how you think it benefits you. So this next part really links. We have a links is on this gray line, and then the rabbit, the hare is represented on the black line. We have some basic information. We have our square footage being 328 square kilometers. It tells us how our chart's set up. We have this no shoe here the lynx diet and the hare rat diet. This is how much a lynx weighs. This is how much a hare weighs. So we're going to look at 1850 and 1925 for specific dates to find the mass of the snowshoe hare. So I have to go over to the chart. I have to find 1850. I have to trace it up. And then I have to trace it over to the left because that's where my hare data is. It's approximately 3,000. So I'm going over here and I'm going to put my total hares. But I need to times it by the square footage, which is 328. And then I need to times it by the mass of each individual rabbit, which is 1.5. I'm going to go around and go 3,000 times 328 times 1.5. That gives me 1,476,000 kilograms. And then we do the same thing, but now I need to look for 1925. So come over here. We're looking at where 1925 stops. So it's about at the end of this. I'm going to trace it over the best side. Not in a very straight line. The best I can, as straight as I can. You approximately will say about 25. So I'll go over here, and I do 25 times our square, our area again, times the individual of each rabbit. So I do 25 times 328 times 1.5. That gives me 12,300. And then to figure out the mass of the forage, the second part, the forage is plants. Okay, and to figure out this, I times by 10. So I times this by 10. So essentially, it's adding a 0. And we'll do it. So we have 1,476,000 times 10. So I've got 4 zeros there. So my total winds up being 14,760,000 kilograms. And then I do the same thing for this one. I times it by 10. And that gives me 123,000 kilograms. For this part, I'm not going to go over the discussion questions. You'll need to answer those. But to explain this part, what the atlas is wanting y'all to think of is we're talking about during the increase. So during the increase, if we look at when the lynx are increasing, the hares are also still increasing. It's not until the lynx hit their peak that the hare, or almost to their peak, that the hares decrease. So if the rabbits are still increasing, because this is during, then that means that our forage is still going to be decreasing, which is the plants. And this is because more mass is moved from the forage to the hare still. And then make sure you answer the last of the questions. And this is also for those that I messed up in class, so you have the correct explanation.